I'm Hugh Hewitt. It is frightfully cold up here. Senator Thom Tillis is one of our favorite senators. He joins us. He, of course, represents the great state of North Carolina. Good morning, Senator. How are you?
Well, good morning, Hugh. You got to cover howdy too for those of us in the South.
All right. Howdy to all of you down there. Howdy. Senator, you are one of our favorite because you came through when the Afghanistan debacle occurred, and you went 24/7 as long as it took to get people out of Afghanistan. That's one of the reasons why, as you run for re-election in 2 years, you can basically put a cot in the studio. We'll put you on the air every day. Are the Democrats going to try and take you out again?
Yeah, we'll be the number one race. I actually have talked to some of the Democrats that said, "Are y'all going to have just a little tinge of guilt when you spend hundreds of millions of dollars to try and take me out in 26?" So, of course, and we do the same thing. That's why we took out Tester. That's why we took out Brown. That's why we took out Casey. That's how it works. It's on me to convince North Carolina they should send me back, and I believe that I will.
It's a tough cycle. Historically, and I came to town in 83 after the 82 wipeout of Ronald Reagan in between his landslides. People don't understand the first off year of a new president, and 45 becoming 47, it's the same dynamic, is pretty rough. So you got to get going early. Are you going early? As Mitch McConnell said, you can start too late, but you can never start too early.
I had a buddy of mine text me the 2 weeks after the election, said, "I know it's early, we've got to get started." I said, "Buddy, I had 6 fundraising events last week. You take it seriously. The cycle for me starts the day after the election, and we're running hard. We're working on posting a good quarter and a good first half. I think we're going to do it, and I think we'll box out primary challengers too."
Well, they'd be insane. They'd be insane. If anyone challenges Thom Tillis, they're not really a Republican. It's a bad idea. Go to
we
TH.
got a little insanity down there,
I know. But you have been a very strong supporter of the president in the past. You will be again. Doesn't mean you're a guaranteed vote on anything. No senator is. But I want people to go to THOMTillis.com, ThomTillis.com. I hope you get lots of small donors. It might scare off some Democrats, realize that Thom Tillis is basically invulnerable. Senator, you're on banking, you're on finance, and you're on judiciary. Let me start with the latter. That means Kash Patel comes before your committee, correct?
Yes.
I am a big supporter of his because I think the FBI is dysfunctional, but I don't want them to shut down counterintelligence because the country is awash in CCP agents. Do you think there's a balance that can be struck here?
I absolutely do. I'm supporting Cash. I've had several positive discussions with them. I'm trying to get my members to recognize that most of them, in truth, only know how he's been defined in the press. They need to talk to people that have worked with Cash. They need to read his books, but understand how the press have cheapened the concept that he's getting to, and that is a deep state task.
I do, too. I also think Pam Bondi is going to be a fabulous attorney general, and I like their solicitor general pick. I think Todd Blanche is the deputy. That's where crimes are. Makes sense. He's a veteran of the Southern District of New York. Andy McCarthy thinks highly of him. Have we had a tip of the hand on the Office of Legal Counsel yet? Because that's where the big brain, like Ted Olson, whose memorial service is coming up, that's where they sit. Have we had a tip of the hand on that yet, Senator?
Not yet, and I think you gotta start getting smart about positioning these noms. So if we're talking about ones going through justice, let's work on the AG, the head of the FBI, and get the other ones stacked up because Hugh, it's a lot of work to get them confirmed. So I think they're smart to think about staging and max their capacity. I've heard a few members moaning about having to work on weekends. Well, folks, that's our job. And we need to work as much as 7 days a week to get the cabinet and key sub-cabinet positions confirmed. That is going to drive our agenda, which incidentally is going to give us a better chance at having a good off-year election. It's about producing results.
Yeah. Now I'm going to turn to the budget reconciliation. One more note. John Sauer will come before your committee as the Solicitor General, the so-called 10th Justice. I just read The Meese Revolution by Steve Calabrese and Gary Larson. They're both great. Gary Lawson. They're both great professors. Steve was there at Justice. I was there for the beginning of the Meese Revolution. They got to clear out the career people in the SG's office one at a time, not instantly, but replace them because those folks are the permanent government and they don't like what the new court is doing, Senator. Mr. Sauer will be before you. Do you think that will take any time at all?
No, I think that those the picks, unless there's some sort of a personal controversy in their records, I think they'll go fairly quickly. And hopefully we can even negotiate with some of the Democrats to say, let's package some of these noms that are non-controversial. We've got about 1,200 nominations, and I believe several hundred, unless you're an absolute political hack, we could all agree should just move forward with them.
Now, that would be wonderful and a good precedent. Let's turn to budget reconciliation. I want the tax bill in the package along with everything else Senator Thune wants. I want it done by the end of March. You're on banking and finance. Can we get these Trump tax cuts made permanent by the end of March?
Right now, there's a discussion about the border, the first reconciliation being the border. I think we need to think that through. I'm more in line with what Jason Smith and Crapo are talking about. I don't necessarily think there are some people who think it's too hard to implement the TCJA extension quickly. I don't think so. I think we can walk and chew gum. We can address some of the border issues in the reconciliation bill. I think we can address some in regular order. But what we really have to get done soon are the tax extensions, many of which are set to expire at the end of this year. We need to get it done sooner, Hugh, because business. If we wait until later, the markets are going to price in the possibility of a tax increase, and that's not good for economic performance going into 26.
So, Senator, here's what I don't understand. I want the border wall built. I want the Border Patrol expanded. I want energy drill. I want some regulatory obstacles out of the way. And I want the tax code because business is forward-looking. And if we don't boom this economy, we're going to get wiped out in 26. Does everyone understand there's some urgency here? The economy's got to boom this year in order for its effects to be felt next year at the elections.
Yeah, I think the problem you run into, it's interesting they call the budget process reconciliation. We got a lot of reconciliation before we can do reconciliation, and it's reconciling what is the best and highest use of our time. The problem you run into when you got razor-thin margins is everybody has their own idea of what the best possible thing is. So we've got to get people on the same page to say what is the maximum return for the minimum effort and a minimum amount of time to prove to the American people that we're going to implement and fulfill the promises that Trump made and that got him elected.
Have you talked to the new incoming Majority Leader, Senator Thune, about the calendar, Senator Tillis? Because to me, this all ought to be done within 100 days, actually 60 or 30, because there's no reason you can't be working on the details now.
I haven't talked to John Thune about the calendar since yesterday afternoon, so I'll need to get an update this morning, Hugh. It's all about, chamber time in the Senate is the coin of the realm. And you got to use it. You got to use it judiciously. You got to use it wisely. But we also have the ability to expand it. Here's a concept. Let's come in on Sunday night and leave on Friday evening until such time as we've got the momentum to go back to Monday, Thursday, or Monday, Friday schedule. Look, the American people need results. And anybody who wants to go to the mic and say, I'm uncomfortable with working 7 days a week, should say that to the public, not to me in a conference.
And God bless you for that, because, look, it's not forever, but for 60 days, you guys have got to camp out there and get this stuff done, and I'm glad to hear that you're committed to it. Senator Tillis, last question. In terms of a Democratic opponent, they've tried everything against. Are you expecting the incumbent governor to run against you?
He may. I don't think so. Look, if Cooper wants to run against me, I'm going to remind him I became Speaker of the House because they outran their blockers. They overtaxed and overregulated North Carolinians. They put us into the fourth quartile for an attractive place to do business. Once we took control, we became number one or number two. We've got one of the best and most successful tax policies in a generation at the state level. More people have more money to do more things for themselves, and that was delivered by Republican leadership. If Cooper wants to run against that, I can't wait for the debate.
ThomTillis.com, Thom, Tillis.com. Get on board early. He is their number one target in 2026, and we're going to defend him. Thom Tillis, thank you, Senator.